Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Just love the sounds of Mikey Ruckus in the morning.
Gets you going, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it gets you fired up, man. And I'm about as fired up as I can be in the mornings.
Well, how about that?
I realize that my peak hours are like, and I know it's because of my job, right? My peak hours are like after 7 o'clock. Even here at the house, I just like, I just mope around, don't do shit, you know. Oh, we got to do this. We do a lot of that here at the house. We do a lot of, you know what we got to do? What? We got to get that stuff downstairs.
I love that. You know what we got to do? We do a lot of that around here.
We do it.
Well, listen, we've been trying to do that for a couple of weeks here on the program. You know what we got to do? We got to do another podcast. Tony's out of town. Tony's got the Continental Classic. Tony's out of town. But we're back, baby, and we're so excited to be back. So much fun stuff to talk about, man. I guess we should get this out of the way for our international listeners. This weekend, my Alabama Crimson Tide find themselves in the SEC Championship once again for what feels like the 1,000th time against your former Georgia Bulldogs. This is going to be a fun weekend for me. I know it's just another day for you. You'll be doing AEW Collision. Tickets are on sale now. You can get those tickets right now, AEWTIX.com. Lots of crazy travel you guys are doing right now, like, Minnesota and Canada and Texas, and you're all over. Tickets are on sale for all of that, plus Wembley Stadium coming up right around the corner. The pre-sale's live now, AEWTIX.com. But Tony, let's get the football talk out of the way.
Yeah.
What do you think? Georgia or Alabama?
I don't care.
Well, listen,
without a doubt, you got to admit this. We have the two most dominant programs in the SEC going at it again, kind of the way it should be, don't you think?
Yeah. Yes, this is the Flair sting of the SEC. Like, I'm not sure who's going to be there in the big match. Oh, yeah, Flair and Sting again. Oh, yeah, Alabama, Georgia again. This year, Alabama comes in with one loss, a double-digit loss. They lost by 10 points to Texas. I've already told my dad. My dad thinks I'm big negative. Hey, if Georgia beats Alabama this weekend, and they are the 4-point favorite as we're recording, I would be okay with playing Texas again in a bowl game. Just that would get me interested in a bowl game. Meanwhile, Auburn will probably wind up playing New Mexico State in the Birmingham Bowl. If you were paying attention to college football, you may have seen that your great close personal friend, and I have it on good authority, it's your day to watch him, Ric Flair, has been in a little bit of a feud with Paul Finebaum. Did you see that?
No. What is this? Is this like in a feud about who has the best false teeth, or whose hearing aid works better?
Nobody's ever accused Ric Flair of having false teeth.
Okay. or whose bedpan works the best, or what? What is it?
So he being Ric Flair, your great close personal friend, he took issue with the way Finebaum had been talking about Michigan. And he says, the Michigan Wolverines denied your coach, the great Jim Harbaugh. You still prevailed. Ha ha, Big Ten, NCAA, and especially you at Finebaum. Quit being a hater and start being a believer. Quit snubbing the Big Ten. Woo. Now, of course,
woo.
You got to have a little woo in there.
Yeah.
Finebaum has some of our listeners are not familiar with Paul Finebaum. I grew up with Paul Finebaum here in Alabama. Do you want to just go ahead and catch everybody up on who you believe Paul Finebaum to be, or what people should know about him?
I believe Paul Finebaum is the grandfather of Alfred E. Newman.
Okay.
He is a longtime sports talk host and guy who has been watching and covering SEC sports for a long, long, long time. When the SEC became a part of the ESPN, he became a part of that. He's had a talk show forever, and I guess that's his claim to fame, right? I don't.
Yeah, he's sort of like I saw this great analogy the other day. Paul Finebaum is the Dave Meltzer of the SEC.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought, wow, okay, that sort of explains it to wrestling fans.
Okay. Which does that mean? Does that mean Paul Finebaum has a stooge network?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
Yes, that's
All
exactly what that means.
Okay.
Well, he appeared, he being Paul Finebaum, on the Matt Berry show on the ESPN College Football YouTube page. And awfulannouncing.com is recapping the feud. They have the exact quote here from Finebaum. Ric Flair, let's be honest, is done. The guy used to be at the epicenter of his sport, and now he's in his 70s and washed up and basically scraping for dollars. Ric Flair is trying to make a name for himself off of this. He's trying to stay relevant. He's trying to stay in that 15 minutes of relevancy, and it's sad. We all watch our heroes get older and fade away and show up at pro-ams and do things they wouldn't normally do, appear on Social Security advertisements at 3 a.m. Unfortunately, that's Ric Flair right now.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Now, Rick could not let that go unchecked.
That's pretty good heel promo there from Paul.
Great heel promo. And this response from Rick has over 1 million impressions just on his Twitter.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Finebaum, I spent more money on spilt liquor from one side of this world to the other than you made last year. Stop kissing Georgia's ass. I'll see you on January 6th in Charlotte, Flair country, which you're lucky to live in, for Collision. And I'll reserve you 2 front row tickets because God knows you can't afford to buy them. When you had me on your show, I was the great Ric Flair. I still am, and I'm bigger and better than ever at 74. Let's compare W2, sir. And also, your 800K followers is nothing compared to my 10 million. FYI, don't ever joust with the dirtiest player in the game. Woo.
There you go. Don't fuck with Ric Flair at any age.
Well, I don't know how to tell Rick this, but I don't know exactly what he's doing on January 6th, but that is his daughter's birthday, a milestone birthday.
January 6th, Collision is in Charlotte.
I saw that. And he's inviting Finebaum there. January 6th is also a milestone birthday for his daughter. Have to see how that goes.
His daughter, as in your wife?
Yeah.
You guys better get yourself a plane ticket to Charlotte and celebrate there.
I'm not coming to Charlotte. Not me.
Well, if Ric Flair says so, and he's the patriarch of your family.
I'm the patriarch of my family.
No, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got a 12-inch dick. Okay.
Love to see it.
Okay.
Love to see it. Pull it out. Show it off.
No.
If you really had a 12-incher, you'd have been helicoptering around.
Yeah, damn right I would have.
We know that about you. Hey, so listen. Thanksgiving's in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
I need to hear about it. Because I was under the impression that once upon a time, you had a gathering, pardon the pun, of your own. Fans from far and wide found themselves at your dinner table.
Okay.
I, though, have never actually been invited to your house. I barged in once.
Right.
What'd you do this Thanksgiving? Did you wind up at James Elkery's house, or what'd you do today?
No, Lois and I, when, of course, I arrived Thanksgiving morning from Chicago. Lois and I went out to dinner. Well, went out to, I guess, and late lunch at this restaurant and had our Thanksgiving dinner there. Came back home and then went to our next door neighbor's house and had some dessert. And then went to another neighbor's house across the street and had some more dessert. So we visited with 2 neighbors and then came back home, and that was basically Thanksgiving. We had nobody. It was completely different than last year. Because last year I had some folks from different parts of the country, and we all went to WrestleCade. But thanks to Collision, my WrestleCade is, as a matter of fact, thanks to Collision, me signing autographs on a weekend is kind of kaput unless I do it on a Sunday. And that was basically it. That was my Thanksgiving. How about yourn?
Did you not see any of your family besides Lois on Thanksgiving? This was just a you and Lois and the dogs Thanksgiving?
Just me and Lois and the dogs Thanksgiving.
That's the first time ever that's happened?
No, it's not. No.
Okay. I've never traveled, like air travel, on Thanksgiving Day. How was that this year?
Thanksgiving Day is okay on the day.
Okay.
Okay. The day before, and of course, then the Sunday after, is pretty stiff.
Brutal. Yeah.
Yeah. The good news is the good news for me is I always take the first flights, so it's not that bad. Still pretty bad at the Atlanta airport, but it was okay. Chicago airport wasn't that bad. Pittsburgh airport was all right. So listen, I've traveled so much, especially recently, that it's like I'm kind of numb to it. You know, you park, you go into the airport, there's a line, you wait in line, you look at your phone, you go through, and you get to your plane. So it's not a big deal to me anymore.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you've got that out of your system, and you just sort of callous to it now. Once upon a time, you used to do a lot of travel for baseball.
Yeah.
It was a different kind of travel, but still, travel's just been a big part of your life.
Yeah, we flew a lot in baseball, believe it or not. We would take a bus trip to Charlotte, and we would take but basically everywhere else we flew. So I flew a lot with baseball. But people ask me all the time, God, you travel so much. Are you okay with that? And I go, yeah, I'm fine. I am. I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't go to the airport and go, God, oh, no, God, here we are again. I just keep my head down and get on the plane and go away. Go away. Come back. Dogs are happy to see me. Lois is on her phone, and move about my day.
Well, I like that we get to say go away, and maybe you're ready to say go away to some of those bad habits.
Yes.
Well, here we are with Thanksgiving in the rearview mirror. And as we know, cold turkey might be great on sandwiches, but there is a better way to break your bad habits. And we're not talking about some weird mind voodoo from your crazy neighbor or Lois on Facebook. We're talking about our sponsor, Fume. You see, they look at the problem in a different way. Not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of a drastic, uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from your habit? Fume is an innovative, award-winning flavored air device that does just that. Instead of vapor, Fume uses flavored air. Instead of electronics, Fume is completely natural. And instead of harmful chemicals, Fume uses delicious flavors. You get it. Instead of bad, Fume is good. It's a habit you're free to enjoy, and it makes replacing your bad habit easy. Your Fume comes with an adjustable airflow dial. It is designed with movable parts and magnets for fidgeting, giving your fingers a lot to do, which is helpful for de-stressing and anxiety while breaking your habit. I got to tell you, the first time my wife tried it, she was blown away with how flavorful it was. It felt very fresh. She still, to this day, prefers the crisp mint flavor, but there's tons of different flavors for everybody. Stuff like raspberry lemon or orange vanilla or sparkling grapefruit. How about white cranberry, or this is a new one for me, maple pepper. Think of this as like a refreshing herbal tea. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume would be more like herbal tea. Not as sweet and a lot more natural. You're going to love the way it feels. It's well weighted, feels good in your hand. It's perfectly balanced. It's just kind of fun to fidget with. It's also made out of beautiful real wood, and it's a cool shape. You're going to feel cool using it. And you've got to try the new Solano Fume. It's made with a premium walnut barrel and an onyx coated mouthpiece. That's a slightly softer finish. Start the holidays off with the good habit by going to tryfume.com/WHW and getting the Journey Pack today. Fume is giving listeners of this show 20% off until December 1st when they use my code WHW to help making the good habit that much easier. That's tryfume.com/WHW. Be sure to use our promo code WHW. So, Tony, a lot has happened in wrestling since we sat down talking about the more modern era. We saw that there was another successful event and some new records for the opposition and some new debuts. And more importantly, on your side of the fence, man, one of the biggest free agents, a lot of chatter about what Will Ospreay would do. He's got such a legacy in New Japan. Now it's official. He is a part of the AEW roster. You guys have quietly started to amass some really great talent over there, like Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay, like real world renowned over in Japan performers. And man, you just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And now there's Tony's new revelation of this Continental Classic tournament. Just an absolute ton of talent in that. I saw fans get super excited about the way you guys did like the selection show. It made it feel like a college football type thing. That's your first time doing something like this. What'd you think?
I thought it was pretty cool. I was kind of skeptical at first that, when you work in wrestling and I've been a part of tournaments before, right? It's like, oh, another tournament. But this tournament is different because it's round robin, because it's point based. And so it makes it pretty cool. And I've enjoyed it so far. I've enjoyed calling it. And, I think it's something that we're obviously going to do each and every year. And to me, when I'm thinking about this entire year that we had, I'm thinking, this is a pretty cool way to end up the year for us.
Yes.
So, I'm for it. And obviously, there are people out there that are going to say, well, Schiavone's not going to criticize anything AEW does. And you're right. Go fuck yourself.
Well,
I
don't know where to go with go fuck yourself.
Okay. No, that's to everyone that says that. But I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, as you and I are recording, we have had, of course, 2 nights of it, and 2 more nights of it coming up. Tonight on a Wednesday, if you're listening on this Wednesday, it's Minneapolis. And then on Saturday, when Georgia plays Alabama, I'll be in beautiful Erie, Pennsylvania with Collision. We got some great matches coming up. But I really enjoyed Eddie Kingston and Brody King. Man, those 2 big guys tore it up. So some great matches that normally you probably wouldn't see. And some great competitors.
I'm excited to see what's next. I love the idea of there being a quote unquote triple crown. Of course, we've heard a lot about that over in Japanese wrestling, but for there to be a triple crown here, so the Ring of Honor World title, and now, this Continental Classic thing, and then of course the New Japan Strong title, that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see how this shakes out. Of course, it's all going to come to a head at the end of the month. They've got a monster pay-per-view in New York. MJF and the Devil, and so many fun little things that are happening in AEW, an exciting time in AEW, but of course, all eyes on Wembley Stadium. It's hard to believe that tickets are on sale for that. I mean, I'm excited for it. You always put a mega show like that on sale way in advance, but it feels like it wasn't that long ago. We were just at All In, and now here it is again, man. The beat goes on. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. Our topic today, we're going to be watching a very special episode of Jim Crockett Promotions. In fact, it's the last JCP show. I can't believe this is real, but as you and I are recording this, a week ago was the 35th anniversary of when the Crockett family sold their promotion to Ted Turner. And we thought, man, what a fitting way to pay tribute to the good old days of professional wrestling than for us to actually sit down and watch the last ever episode of a Crockett owned wrestling promotion. And it was a big part of your life and a big part of your career. And Tony, we haven't talked about this on air or off air, and I'm not asking for any sort of declaration or announcement or specifics, but have you imagined, with Sting sort of eyeing retirement and him stepping away at the pay-per-view, I guess maybe at the end of Q1 or the beginning of Q2, whatever the dates work out to be. Have you thought much about what the end of your career, what you want it to look like? Like, what would Tony Schiavone's perfect scenario be for you riding off into the sunset to watch Lois play on Facebook for the rest of your days?
I would say, hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of...
Oh, you're going to die in the seat.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And that doesn't mean I'm going to be 80 when I do it. You
want to Jerry Lawler it. You want to go all the way.
Yeah. I just, I don't think I'm slowing down. I think sometimes I just don't think I'm slowing down, and I'm really honored that even Tony would allow me to do play-by-play again at this stage of my life. Right now I'm 66, turned 66 on November 7th. I still got, I realistically, I think I've got like one more contract in me, if Tony will go with that, and then we'll see what happens. But I don't know, maybe when it's all over with, you and I would just podcast until I do croak. But let me say this. I just don't envision myself retiring. And that's why when we started doing Saturdays, and Tony, and this is before Tony put me on the broadcast team, Tony told me, he said, we're going to start doing a Saturday show. And he said, you don't have to come. He said, we can have two different crews. I'm the only one that's got to come. I said, Tony, I'm going to be here every day for you. I'll be here on Wednesdays and I'll be here on Saturdays. It's a case of flying on, just being away 2 nights out of the week. And he said, okay. And then I got to thinking, I was talking to one of our producers about this too. It's like, if I'm not doing it, what am I going to do? Just sit at home and do nothing?
Right. That ain't you.
Yeah, no, that's not me at all. There's a guy named Jim Weber, who's the longtime voice, and I think he still does it, of the Toledo Mud Hens. And I've known Jim for a long time. And they asked Jim, and Jim is in his 70s, and he's still doing it. He's done like, I don't know, 8,000 baseball games in a row or something. It's something incredible. And they asked him, and they said, Jim, when are you going to retire? And he said, retire from what? From watching baseball? And that's kind of what announcers do. They watch a sport and they talk about it.
Right.
It's not like we go out and dig a ditch or go out and do something that's strenuous. It is strenuous. It is. There's a lot of pressure, but I love what I do, and I'm very fortunate. I had a chance to talk to a gentleman named Patrick Height, who works for the Stanton News Leader, the paper in Stanton, Virginia, and which is the town close. I was born in Stanton, but it's my hometown kind of. And he was doing an interview with me about the radio station I used to work at when I first started, WTON. And WTON is finally going to stop doing local sports after decades of doing local sports. And that's what I used to do, local sports on WTON. And I told him the story that when I graduated from college in May of 1980, that summer, James Madison, as you know, JMU has had a good year in football. James Madison wanted me to be their play-by-play guy for football. And they offered me the job, which I turned down, ended up doing baseball. And he said to me, do you realize how different your life may have been had you not turned down the James Madison job? And he's right. I may have never done wrestling because I wouldn't have moved to the Carolinas.
Right.
And so that's one of those forks in the road in your career, big decisions in your career. And I wonder sometimes if I would still be doing commentary at this age. Football. Don't know. Al Michaels still does it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's older than me.
Do you know Al Michaels doesn't eat vegetables?
What?
Yeah, Al Michaels eats meat only.
Meat only.
Yeah, he doesn't need vegetables at all.
No
He's like,
taters.
he's like Dave Silva.
No taters.
I don't know. I don't know a specific diet. I'm not personal friends with him. I just
Okay.
I
Wow.
saw an interview. I heard him. I was actually at, boy, this sounds awful.
Go ahead.
But I took an anniversary trip with my wife.
Oh,
and
that's so good.
we wound up, you stop. We wound up staying at a Ritz-Carlton in Marina Del Rey in
Wow.
California. I know that
Wow.
sounds awful.
No, it
But
sounds great.
we're one table over from the broadcast crew. So Chris Collinsworth is there with Al Michaels and somebody else. And I hear the voice and I'm like, wait a minute. That's Al Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't be. I keep eating my breakfast. And then I'm like, wait, that's definitely Chris Collinsworth. So I'm like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. And when I come back, I just want to get eyes on it because I didn't want to do one of these turn your head gimmicks. So I just went to the bathroom and I come back and I'm like, holy shit, that's them.
Uh-huh.
I heard his order and I thought, well, I mean, he's dropping too hard, but that sounded like a really peculiar order.
Uh-huh.
And then I saw an interview with him not too long ago where he's never eaten anything green, I think. Like he's just grossed out by all vegetables. And I was like, damn, Dave Silva and Al Michaels could be boys.
Yeah, I just wonder that kind of goes against everything that healthy people tell you about. You're not going to live long if you just eat meat and well, I guess it's an all protein diet, right?
I mean, I think the idea is he's never knowingly eaten a vegetable in his life.
Mm.
That's the quote. Never knowingly. So maybe he's had one accidentally.
No.
But I'm just thinking, like when I was a kid, man, that was not negotiable.
No, you're right. You're
You
right.
can't get up until you cleared your plate and you're eating those damn green beans or whatever the hell it was.
Right. Hey, I was just looking it up. He just turned 79.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy.
So you got a little time in front of you.
Yeah, one would think. One would think. I don't know. I don't know if I'll go that far or not. But anyway, I'm very fortunate to still be doing what I'm enjoying, and I really am enjoying it. Coach Rosie just said he went to ASU. He'd be an Al Michaels. He is an Arizona State guy. There you go.
Let me ask you about, and then we'll get into our topic. By the way, we want you to watch along with us. It's going to be a great show. We're watching World Championship Wrestling from November 19th, 1988. So as a reminder, the sale went through on the 21st. So 2 days later is where there was pen to paper and it was made official. Ted Turner has bought out the Crockett's. It's season 4, episode 47 of World Championship Wrestling. So get your Peacock out and fire up season 4, episode 47. It went down November 19th, 1988. Tony, we haven't spoken where we can actually discuss a pretty big time pay-per-view that you guys had. It feels like AEW always delivers on pay-per-view. Full Gear was no exception. But when the show was over, people were still buzzing. And as our pal Eric says, controversy creates cash. There was a little controversy about a death match, the likes of which a lot of people have never seen, with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. I know Hangman is one of the pillars of AEW, one of the first AEW world champions. I have been loud and proud. I'm on the Swerve train. I swerve when I drive now, thanks to Prince Nana. And I really was blown away by the match. I saw a lot of things I didn't ever think I would see in a wrestling ring. And I know that sort of thing happens on some hardcore shows, but I don't know, it caught me off guard, but I was entertained and it was like a car wreck. I couldn't look away.
Right.
You've seen some hardcore wrestling in your day, and I know people don't really talk about that, but man, there used to be barbed wire rope matches with Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes, and you were there for that, and that was in the 80s. So it's not like some of this is really brand new,
right?
But it always stands out. You were there, you saw it live. What'd you think?
I was blown away by it, especially to me what made it incredible. And there was a lot of things that made it incredible to me. The use of the cinder blocks,
yes,
was like, what the fuck are they doing? And I always look at these things, and the first thing I think about is the safety of these guys and what they're putting their bodies through. And, you know, they're, I don't know. They're all going to pay for this eventually. But the things that they will do to entertain fans just never ceases to amaze me. And tip of the cap to both those kids for doing that and going to those heights. And I really thought the angle with Swerve going to Hangman's house, was pretty stiff. And I went, whoa, that's heavy. That is really freaking heavy. But it made for some good anger for Hangman.
Yeah.
It made for a great match. It was a cool angle. And you're right about Swerve. Swerve is, I told him, I said, man, that's candidate for match of the year right there. And he's a hell of a performer, that kid is. Really is. Really when you know, we talk about the big name signings that we've had.
Yeah.
But Swerve is a big signing that really has proven to be very valuable for us.
I totally agree. I think he's got top guy just tripping all over him. And I love the pairing of him and Prince Nana. Of course, that's from the mind of Tony Khan. And I don't know that I would have thought about putting those two guys together, but man, they just went together like peanut butter and jelly. And they go together like this show and dick hair trimmers. Merry Balmus from our friends over at Manscaped. The holidays are approaching, but what if I told you that the celebrations are starting early this year? It turns out the perfect gift does exist. And who else to bring it down your chimney than the leaders in below the waist grooming? Keep calm and let your balls jingle this season. With Manscaped's brand new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra, featuring the new Lawnmower 5.0. Watch all your wishes and mistletoe kisses come true. Look nice when you're going naughty by going to manscaped.com and using the code WHW for 20% off plus free shipping. Unwrap the gift of smoothness this season with Manscaped. Manscaped's Performance Package 5.0 Ultra is the ultimate bundle for the man who deserves it all. Included in this special sack is the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, the Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer, all the Manscaped liquid formulations, and 2 free gifts. Starting with Santa's #1 helper, it's the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's a 5th generation trimmer featuring 2 next-gen blade heads. The standard trimmer blade for taking a little off the top, and Tony Schiavone's favorite, the new foil blade to get that smooth finish wherever your heart desires. Tony Schiavone called me on speakerphone. He tried FaceTime. I turned it down. If Tony Schiavone ever tries to FaceTime, you turn it down. But he had me on speakerphone, and he was describing how smooth he was down yonder.
Unbelievable.
It was all thanks to this foil blade. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Body Trimmer and the Weed Whacker 2.0 Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer both have proprietary advanced skin-safe technology help you protect those delicate presents of yours. And they're also waterproof, so there's no issue clearing the snow out of the driveway if you catch them what I'm putting down. We've also got to get that candy cane groomed and then make sure you don't smell like a reindeer. The Crop Soother is an aftershave lotion, and the Crop Preserver is Tony Schiavone's favorite. It's the anti-chafe ball deodorant. Back when he was not working in wrestling, he had really stinky nuts. We started this podcast, one swipe, and man, that phone rang with a Jacksonville area code, and he's never looked back. Once they touch your sack, you'll never go back. It's the gift of Manscaped, and it doesn't stop there. They got 2 other free gifts. They got the Boxers, the 2.0 premium underwear, and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag, which Jim Ross uses to carry his vape town to town. Once you're done shaping up, it's the only right way to put your pants present in the best wrapping. Those Boxers 2.0, seriously, some of the best boxers my friends have ever worn. I've gifted this. It is the ultimate gift. This is for your uncle. This is for your dad. I'm telling you, if you're doing like a dirty Santa or a secret Santa, or maybe you do a gift exchange with your family, this is going to get a pop every time. And why not get 20% off and free shipping with the code WHW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code WHW. Manscaped, Get your jingle balls ready for the holiday. Tony, without further ado, I'm pretty fired up about this episode. It's season 4, episode 47. Can't believe this is real. 35 years and change in the rearview mirror here. And Tony, just as a reminder to you, I know you lived it, but y'all actually taped this on the 14th. So this aired 5 days later. So 1 week after you taped this is when the sale would actually become official. This was recorded on the 14th. It airs on the 19th, and the sale closed 2 days later on the 21st. So usually at this time of the show, Tony, you've got a special countdown for us. What are we looking at today?
We have another special countdown today.
Okay.
All right. Everybody is ready. Comfortable
ready.
in your chairs or on your couch or in your car, wherever you are. Stand by. DJ, turn up.
Why would anybody want to go to Acworth, Georgia?
Well, listen, I like Acworth, Georgia, okay?
No, you don't. What do you like there? The goddamn Waffle House? Acworth sucks.
No, it doesn't. See, now you're turning into one of those. You're turning into one of those Alabama fuckers online, okay? So don't do that.
You know my favorite restaurant in Acworth, I'm going to be honest with you, it's Rico's Mex Grill. I'm being serious.
Yeah, I know you are. Okay, so anyway, where are we watching a match here?
I'm over here, and it says Henry's Louisiana Grill is the #1 restaurant, and I agree. Fish Time is #2. Tony Reed's rap. Well, that one sucked, DJ. Sorry. What'd you think of that tag team, Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton?
The young girls loved them.
All right, then.
Wrestling, bringing you great wrestling action sanctioned by the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance.
It's a great program here today on World Championship Wrestling, and I'm Tony Schiavone, David Crockett, and Jim Ross ringside for the NWA, the Major League of Professional Wrestling. Today on our program, gentlemen, and everybody out there, our very first update about Starcade 88 coming your way during the month of December. And also, during this program, the explosion has taken place, and we'll talk about it. You know, gentlemen, it's been coming to a head for so long. We all saw it coming across the nation. We're talking about the Varsity Club and Rick Steiner. Now, the Varsity Club, they are here as a group, and Rick Steiner, David, I understand, is also here in the building somewhere.
That's right, and I'm going to get to talk to Rick Steiner, and you all are going to find out what he has to say. And what about Sting and Luger?
Look in all the closets, David Steiner allowed to be anywhere, maybe in the snack bar. He likes to hang around there. We're going to see Sting and Lex Luger in action here today. Back together, we know their big collision with the Road Warriors is pending, but we're going to see them on the program here today in tag team action. And it's Sting's first return since that injury suffered at the hands of the Road Warriors. All the top stars are here. A lot of things are going on. So right now, why don't we go to the ring for action, and we'll be back to talk to you in just a few seconds.
So we got Bam Bigelow here on a JCP show. I love this camera angle. You know, it's one of those floor model cameras, but the little sweeping look here, pretty cool. The poor Trent Knight going to take a beating here.
Mm-hmm.
And how about Sir Oliver Humperdinck? What did you think about Humperdinck with Bigelow?
I loved Humperdinck. I loved anything he did. He was such a great guy. And when I was when did he pass away? What year did he pass away?
Let's ask Google right fast.
Okay, ask Google when he passed away.
It turns out that our man passed away in 2011.
Okay. After I had left wrestling in 2001, he contacted me and wanted me to there was some sort of autograph signing or something. And he said, fans would love to see you again. Why don't you come to this, Tony? And he was so passionate and such a good guy. Oliver Humperdinck was a classy guy behind the scenes. Really, really was. And I was really happy once I got to know him during this era, really happy that we had given him a job. So he was cool. Bam Bam was a good kid too. He was, my favorite Bam Bam memory again is when he teamed with Dusty at the Omni and threw up at ringside. He tagged in. I was the ring announcer. He tagged in. Dusty came in. Bam Bam went to the apron, turned around, and puked right on the floor. And that was the other side. But Dusty stopped. He turned around. He looked at Bam Bam puking, and Dusty looked right at me, like, what the fuck's going on here? And that's my favorite Bam Bam memory. And I know that Taz has them, because Taz was interviewed on Dark Side of the Ring about Bam Bam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What a tremendous performer, man.
Yeah, for his size, absolutely.
Yeah.
And anybody, to me, that would get their skull tattooed like that,
yeah,
is a badass.
No doubt.
Good God. Very unique, right?
No doubt, dude. I mean just a once-in-a-lifetime performer, really, to be that big with this look. A super intimidating look, incredible ring gear, with the flames, but the tattoo on the head, as you said, and then bald with a beard, and just a big human being, and then just break out the cartwheel. Like the first time I remember seeing Bam Bam Bigelow was actually in a Nintendo video game. And when he started just breaking out the cartwheels, I was like, what is this?
Yeah. As you may have noticed, he's been doing a lot of drop kicks here.
Yeah.
Which
very agile for a big man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Ahead of his time, really was, that he could do things like this. And of course, Hall of Famer Teddy Long,
our referee.
Yeah, how about that? So,
do you miss studio wrestling?
There's some parts of it I do miss.
Yeah.
I miss the closeness of the action. Now I know that. Look at that. That would be an enziguri. Thank you, Excalibur. Yeah. I know that we are close on Collision and on pay-per-views. They put us at ringside now, but here was different and something very special.
I think this could work for like a Ring of Honor. I would watch a Ring of Honor studio wrestling show.
Yeah.
Speaking of studio wrestling, one of the great things about it is not only do you get this intimate setting with the fans, as you see some tight shots of the fans, but you also get to do those ringside interviews right afterwards very, very easily. And I think we're about to see one with Bam Bam as we're watching a replay of the Gourd Buster. Pretty underrated finish. I could see a Gourd Buster getting over today.
Me too.
Let's take a listen to David here.
The beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow.
You know, holiday season 1988 is upon us right now. Thanksgiving coming up real quick. And the big night at the Omni on Thanksgiving evening. We're going to be there. It's going to be a great wrestling card. But what I want to talk about now is Battle Stars 88, Road to Starcade, what everybody in the entire wrestling world is talking about. Well, last week we came out here with our good friend Dusty Rhodes, and I told everybody that it didn't matter if Flair wants the title, a single match or a tag team match, or Barry Windham wants a single match or a tag team match. We've got a partner in Dusty Rhodes that we can trust. And with Big Dust by our side, it won't be very long before those titles that are owned by the Midnight Express belong to Dusty Rhodes and Bam Bam Bigelow too. Now Ric Flair is coming down to the time where you're going to have to prove everything you've been talking about you being the man, you being the only man to wear that gold in this business of professional wrestling. Well, like I said before, I've dedicated my life and my time right now to this man right here, and I will not settle for anything but the world's heavyweight champion. Now, Barry Windham, you're running around with a belt too. That U.S. title, prestigious, probably second only to Ric Flair's title. Before it's over, Barry Windham, this man right here, who comes from New Jersey, who is the Beast of the East, will be wearing your belt. Now, the question everybody asks me everywhere I go, tell me about the tattoos. Tell me about the tattoos on this man's head. Put your head down here, brother. Mr. Cameraman, come in real close and take a look. Everything is etched right here, brother, for eternity. The man of flames and fire, who in the 9th grade got his first tattoo. He didn't wait till he joined the Navy. He got his first tattoo in the 9th grade. And brother man, you will be the next world heavyweight champion, and I promise you that.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, it's like the home says. Starcades, the battle stars.
Yes.
The true grit, the road to Starcade is coming.
We're going to take it all. It's going to be a big week, a big holiday season, and we're going to be right in the middle of it, 9/11.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, you'll see the Fantastic right after this.
Lord bless him. That was not the best promo we ever saw.
It wasn't, but he did old school because he started just promoting the events
Yes.
at the beginning.
Yes.
And that was old school. Don't talk about yourself. Talk about the show or talk about the event. And then you can get into yourself. That's old school.
We talked about Bobby Fulton, and here he is with Tommy Rogers. The Fantastics are here. The ultimate baby face walking around ringside with a huge American flag and saying hello to all of the fans sitting at ringside. In the ring, Mike Jackson, who's still wrestling today and still looks just like he did back here in 1988.
My God.
Would you have ever imagined Mike Jackson would be wrestling 35 years later?
No, but probably Mike Jackson knew how to take care of himself in the ring.
No doubt. And out of the ring, or else you wouldn't be doing that. My goodness.
Yes, right,
Hats off to him.
right.
Do you think in a different time and place, the Fantastics could have been, a bigger deal? I mean, obviously a great tag team. I just wonder if their timing was off a little bit here.
Why do you say that? What, just because their look was at the wrong time?
Yeah, like by 88, it doesn't feel like even the Rock and Roll Express are where they were in, say, 85 or 86.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the Fantastics were in that mix with the Rock and Rolls and the Midnights just a few years earlier, would they be celebrated more than perhaps they are today, just based on timing?
No, you're right. The young, good-looking babyface team, and look what Tommy Rogers could do, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. This was not the time for them. This was the time for like the Road Warriors, and this is almost a time where fans were migrating at the beginning more towards the heels. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or just we're out of that. I don't know. You're right. That's a very good point. Very good point. So Mike Jackson is still performing.
Yeah. He wrestled this past weekend.
Well, he's got to be in his 70s.
Oh yeah, he's way in his 70s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could bring him into TV and let him put over Ric Flair one last time. I hope not.
I hope not too.
I don't think we got to worry about that.
No, I don't need to call a last match again.
No, I think one was plenty.
Yeah, that was his last match, guys.
Yes, that was the one.
That was it. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy? As soon as he appeared on TV, like we all started getting blown up on social. It's like, he's not wrestling.
No.
What are you thinking?
No.
Come on. It's AEW, buddy.
Yeah. Well, again, social media has given idiots a voice.
Right.
And there you go. Idiots come out of the woodwork, man. And here's the thing about it is, if you're wondering, are there more idiots in the world than there used to be? The answer is no. There's always been a group of idiots. Now they're just online where you can read what they're talking about. So.
Well said, Tony. Well said.
Yeah. Anyway,
this is a great match, by the way. You want to talk about working a body part and working a scientific match? This has been a well done television match here so far with the Fantastics, Mr. Cruz and Mike Jackson. I'm really enjoying watching this, man. This is sort of the way wrestling used to be. I dig it.
Great pace to it. Fans are really enjoying it. Little heel action going on right there. Tommy Rogers really pissed off about it. Yeah, this is a very, very well-designed match. And you know what? I bet they called it in the ring.
Oh, there's no doubt they did,
Yeah.
Tony.
That
we-
I'm convinced. I am absolutely convinced now that talent of calling a match in the ring is completely gone. It's over. The era of calling matches in the ring is over. And I know we've had some that had to call matches in the ring because of necessity recently. But no, that's over. That's the magic of wrestling. That's gone.
Let's talk a little bit about as we're watching the end of this match here. Looks like they're getting ready to get set to go home with a big vertical suplex. The Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame has been announced. You were on the ballot, and a lot of folks got in, and of course, it always brings about a big debate. I want to run through some names, see what you think about these folks taking their rightful place in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame.
All right.
Argentina Rocca and Miguel Perez.
Okay.
The Beauty Pair.
The Beauty Pair.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay.
Jack and Jerry Briscoe.
Hell yeah.
Ishii.
Ishii?
The Blue Panther.
It's not Ishii. It's the Blue Panther. Go ahead.
And George Kidd.
Okay.
What do you think about that? 23 Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame.
Some of those guys I've never heard of, so there's got to be a reason. And congratulations to all the Sergeant Slaughter, no question. My God, Jack, I'm shocked it took Jack and Jerry Briscoe this long.
Yeah, I'm glad they're in.
Yeah, me too.
I sent a message in a group chat congratulating the Briscoes, and Jerry Briscoe had a pretty fun reaction. Oh wow, look at this. Let's take a listen.
One more time, you know something? Somebody came up to Bobby last week in the airport and he said, Bobby Eaton, I'm not surprised that Dennis Condrey's come back and wants to kick your butt because you guys fired him. Well, let me tell you something. Hey, you people can shut up again too, because I got something to tell you again this week. I never told anybody why Dennis Condrey left the Midnight Express because Bobby Eaton wanted it that way. But, brother, it's time to tell some people the truth because, Dennis, after what you've done the past couple weeks, you don't deserve the consideration. Dennis Condrey, at one time, we were just like family, brother, and Bobby Eaton was your best friend on the face of this planet. But after a while, toward the end, you let your personal problems get in the way of business. You weren't concentrating. You were missing matches. You lost your ambition. And it wasn't bad enough that it was happening to you, but you were dragging us down with you. And Dennis, we went to you and we said, let us help you because we don't want to make a change, but we might have to. And you turned your back on us, Dennis. You're the one that walked away from us. You wouldn't let us help you because you wouldn't help yourself. But then what sticks in your craw is we called Stan. And Stan came in, and at first, he was Dennis Condrey's replacement. But then all of a sudden, the replacement became greater than the original. And before long, everybody realized that Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane were the Midnight Express, and they were a greater team than any that came before them. So you go out and you get Randy Rose, who has beat people up from one end of this country to the other. But he'll never be the friend that Bobby Eaton was because he's a backstabber and a traitor. And he'll never be the wrestler. He can't fill this man's boots, brother. He can't even lick them. And then you get Paulie Dangerously. A little Johnny-come-lately in the business, Paulie Dangerously, trying to make a cheap reputation, get a free ride on the wagon at my expense. Well, Paulie, I got news for you, brother. You ain't a man. I've been accused of being a wimp before, not being a man, but being a wimp. Well, I may be, and I may have to work on that. But you, Paulie Dangerously, you're not a man. You're not even a wimp. You know what you are? You're a worm, a little slimy, mushy worm. And I'll tell you this, just like a worm, your head is mushy. Just like a worm, your backbone's mushy. Just like a worm, your guts are mushy. Paulie Dangerously, you ain't never had nothing hard on you in your life but third grade, brother. So you remember that. And you remember one thing. Like I said before, you want to fight for the name, well, we'll fight for the name. All three of us will fight for it because it's about prime time that I proved something about myself. They don't need to prove anything. All they need to do is get rid of a couple of cheap imitators like Dennis Conrad and Randy Rose, and that's what they are going to do. And just remember, Paulie, I hope during this holiday season that you don't eat too much turkey, because you still got a dinner coming up. Because after it's all over with, I'm going to take this reminder that I'm carrying around with me, and I'm going to shove this down your throat.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's go to the ring for action.
Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert coming out, taking on David Isley. Boy, Cornette, man, he was on a roll there, and he brought out that white jacket stained with blood. I guess if you know you're going to have to get color, it makes sense to wear white. And he brought the evidence with him here.
You sure that wasn't Paulie's coat stained with gravy?
Listen to you. Hey, look at this jacket with Hot Stuff. I love Eddie Gilbert, but the little thin letters on the back that say Hot Stuff, I don't know. That feels like maybe grandma made that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's homemade stuff right there.
What do you think about the nickname Hot Stuff? Could you get behind that? Could we start calling you Hot Stuff, Tony Schiavone?
No, I don't think it worked for me, but for Eddie, it did.
I think it could work for you. I think it could work for you unironically. I bet there's a whole contingent of women out there who'd love to go one-on-one with the great one.
You talking about
Your wiener.
your boy Ric Flair?
You and your Schiavone wiener.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
That thing's retired.
It retired before you did.
Long time. Decades before me.
Yeah. In the Nitro era, maybe.
Yeah, it sure did.
And it had its last match right after Jimmy's Famous Seafood, the big birthday party a few years ago.
That is pretty damn accurate.
Man, when I think about the fun we've had here on the program over the years, because we've made some crazy friends and had some crazy conversations with the Steiner brothers and Tommy Young and Francine and so many others.
We haven't talked about Francine in a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
But maybe no more interesting person than we met than old Whitney Wright.
Yeah.
And I don't know that.
Oh boy, where's this going?
No, I was just thinking about the other day how crazy that was that we did your birthday party and I had your wife there, and I also had Whitney Wright send in a video. I was like, I really didn't think that one all the way through, did I?
No, but it was okay because Lois was still kind of noisy. And Lois, I remember Lois saying, "What did she say?" And I went, "Nothing."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Whitney was subscribed to the Kickstarter for my comic book.
Yeah. She's owed a phone call.
Which I tried many times and never got through to her. And I just wonder what happened there.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened there. She's making money on OnlyFans these days, hand over fist.
Oh, I bet.
I've not yet subscribed to that, but I just pulled her up on social, and wow, business seems to be a booming.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know how she describes herself these days in her Twitter bio?
Sure. Why not?
Boy, I don't think I've ever had these words touched before.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't. Maybe
anal and squirting goddess.
Okay. That's
Then there's a peach emoji and a splash emoji.
Uh-huh.
And what's funny is on Twitter now, if you hover over it, it says peach, and then over the splash it says splashing sweat symbol.
Huh.
It's explaining what it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know it did that.
That's for the idiots out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do. Oh, what's that thing? What is that? Oh, that's a peach. That didn't look like a peach to me. Let's use it.
Don't go to Whitney Wright social if you're in a work setting or your family uses your same computer.
Right.
Because I just took a look over there, and there are some things happening that they wrote about in the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or if you're afraid of Jesus, don't go there.
Yeah, he is not present on that page.
No, he's not.
Wow. Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, another one of those guys we've talked about before, gone way, way too soon. I know that he eventually had some issues with some substances, but allegedly one of the greater minds in professional wrestling. Did you ever get to pick his brain about wrestling? Would you agree with that he had a good mind for the business?
He was sharp, but I never had a chance to pick his brain. He was very opinionated backstage about things that were happening, and therefore he was very critical of Dusty's booking when he first came in. So, but yeah, Eddie knew what he was doing. There was no question. Everybody knew that. See, and here's how sharp he was. He knew to make that. He knew to put that hold on with his face to the camera.
Yes.
That's subtle, but that's knowing what you're doing. So yeah, I had a lot of respect for his knowledge of the business.
You guys are promoting a Clash of the Champions on December 7th in this era. You've also got a commercial that would air during the show. We won't see it here, I don't believe. But it's a home cassette, a VHS, back when that was a thing, called The Best of Starcade, 1983 through 1987. Of course, it's too little too late for the Crockett family. They're going to be selling out. But this show would air on the 19th, 2 days ahead of when that sale would become final. And on that same day that this aired, you guys ran a show in Philadelphia at the Civic Center to around 5,000 fans. Stan Lane would pin the Italian Stallion. Dennis Condrey and Randy Rhodes would beat the Fantastics. Ivan Koloff would pin the Russian Assassin #2. Mike Rotundo would team up with Steve Williams to take on Bam Bigelow and Ron Simmons. Barry Windham would beat Rick Steiner. And then in our main event, it was Lex Luger and Sting fighting the NWA Tag Team Champion Road Warriors to a double countout. That card didn't feel all that stacked. Then you get to the main event and you're like, oh, okay, that's pretty big. And there you see the finish. What would you call that finish right there?
I think it was called the Hot Shot.
That's right. That's you nailing it. And they're taking a commercial teasing main event coming tomorrow night at 6:05 Eastern. We should take a break too, Tony. We'll stop it down at 25:09. There it is. And we're taking a timeout right now because, boy, old Hot Shot, after one of those, you probably need something to cure what ails you. I can't imagine the pain that like Hangman and Swerve Strickland were in. And I can only hope they knew about The Amazing Kind. Because The Amazing Kind is a plant-based pain relief balm, cream, and gels for muscles and joints. But what we're talking about today are infused oils for mood and sleep. Only at theamazingkind.com. Buy now and get 20% off of all your orders with our promo code WRESTLE at theamazingkind.com. That's theamazingkind.com. Use the promo code WRESTLE. Your body will thank you. But this has been a game changer for a lot of folks. I know that it's been a hit in my household and yours. We were lucky enough to have Morgan home from college over the holiday, and she had been having some trouble sleeping. Man, we hooked her up. Just a couple of drops under the tongue, and bam, she was rip-roaring, ready to go. What's Lois thinking of these oils? Is it helping her sleep? Is it helping her with her mood? Just getting the overwhelming sense of calm?
Well, you know, these oils have anti-inflammatory benefits to them.
Yes.
And they are helping her a great deal with her hip and her knees. Really are. Because Lois is unable to take like Advil or anything like that, and those are anti-inflammatory. So this is helping her out a great deal. It really is.
I think you're going to really, really dig it. I hope you'll check it out. You know, we've got CBN, which is infused oil to help you sleep, and you've also got CBG infused oil to help you focus, and CBD infused oil to help reduce anxiety or to help you relax. The infused oils over at theamazingkind.com, man, it's just good for what ails you, my grandma used to say. Some anti-inflammatory effects for muscles and joints, some pain relieving, but it also just helps you get to sleep. It really is a game changer. I've been lucky enough not to suffer from like headache and migraine type circumstances much in my life. I don't think I've ever had a migraine, but I do have friends who do, and they say that this has really been helpful for them. And I want to recommend too that the sedative properties of some of these oils, this is what I can really get behind. It brings around a state of relaxation and calmness, and that just helps you fall asleep. When your mind's racing and you feel like you're all over the place, you need to just chill out a little bit. Well, this can help. You see, this can help shorten the amount of time it takes to fall asleep, but then it can also help you have prolonged sleep. There's been a lot of users who try the CBN and then say, hey man, I slept longer and I had a more restful, rejuvenative sleep experience. And maybe you're one of those folks who's just up and down during the night. You can't have that uninterrupted sleep. Well, you're never really getting the quality sleep you need. So this could help you actually reduce your nighttime awakenings. It might actually help with that during the night and give you more uninterrupted sleep. And maybe if you suffer from insomnia, and I think all of us know somebody who's just always awake at like 3 a.m. and they just can't get there, the Amazing Kind can help. I think you're going to love it. I want you to try it. And why not get a great deal when you do? Check out theamazingkind.com. You'll get 20% off all your orders when you use our promo code WRESTLE. And I want to mention that the founder of this actually used to work in the wrestling business. He was actually a producer and editor at the WWE, and he was working on commercials and marketing, and he's a listener to this show. So he's one of us. So by all means, support this family-run business that specializes in plant-based pain relief and plant-based balms and creams and gels for your muscles and your joints. And man, the infused oils, that's what I'm all about today. I want you to try it. I think you're going to love it. These infused oils are made from all natural sun-grown hemp. Then they're infused with nutrient-dense MCT oil. It's going to help you get that calm, get that rest, get that sleep. Check it out and save some cash for yourself at theamazingkind.com. Use our promo code WRESTLE. You'll get 20% off all orders. Tony, let's get back to the show. We're at season 4, episode 47, 25 minutes and 9 seconds in on November 19th, 1988. And we've got like an arena shot now as we're coming back from a break. And I'll count us back in. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, play. Uh-oh. I know that song. Underrated theme song, too.
And we're showing a lot of it.
Look at the fans coming alive. There they come. Sting on your right, Lex Luger on your left, Barney Fife over their shoulder.
God, Sting, look at this.
Tommy Young is your referee. This is exciting, man. In-ring action in an arena. They've got it really, really dark. The crowd is not lit. It's just lit right over the ring. I really like that look. You said before that JR was pretty loud and proud and saying that fans would be louder if they were dark, but when they get lit up, they get a little more self-conscious about being loud and cheering. And look at the paint. Sting is trying something new here, not the classic paint that we would grow to be accustomed to with quote-unquote Surfer Sting. It's like he stopped at the eyes. There's nothing above the eyes. So he's trying something new here. And he's got his what will be business partner as his tag team partner. Of course, these guys own Main Event Fitness there in the suburbs of Atlanta, and still great, close personal friends all these years later. So at this point, Sting has chopped off the rat tail. He's a made man. Him and Ric Flair set a record heads up against WrestleMania 4, the very first Clash of the Champions earlier this year. And now they're giving that same rub to Lex Luger. Of course, at this point, he's been a horseman. He's been kicked out of the horseman. He's a babyface. As a kid, man, I love the tag team of Lex Luger and Sting. You were there to see it all sort of come together. What'd you think of this pairing?
Well, I thought they were tremendous. I obviously, I think we all knew that Sting. Am I right by saying that Sting was a bigger star than Lex Luger at this time?
Yes.
Yes. We all knew that Sting was a bigger star, but because of their friendship that you talked about and their business deals, they really worked very well together. They looked good. They were great. And they were a joy to work with. You know, one time I had asked Sting, I don't know if I ever told you this story or not. I had asked Sting, I said, your face paint, how do you decide what your face paint is going to look like? And he said, I never know until I look in the mirror that night.
Wow.
He just improvised every time. I mean, he obviously used colors that would coordinate with his whatever ring gear he was wearing. But as far as the design goes, he never knew what he was going to do until it was in the dressing room and he's painting his face. Now, I mean, obviously,
two submission moves. Look at this finish. Sharpshooter for Sting, human torture rack for Lex Luger. Dude, that's fun. As a kid, that got me excited. As an adult, I still like it. I didn't mean to cut you off. I love the double submission.
It was cool, man. And it got both moves over.
Yes. It's so crazy to me to think that his career's going to come to a close. I mentioned the other day to a friend of ours that I think it would be cool one last time to see Surfer Sting. I even mentioned that to Lex Luger. I don't know that he'll do that on his last match, but do you think there's any chance you could talk Sting into doing Surfer Sting one last time?
No.
I don't think so either. But it'd be so badass.
Yeah, it would be. I think it'd be badass if he do Surfer Sting for his last match.
I'm for that too.
Yeah.
All right, we got Bob Cottle, your man here at ringside. Let's listen to the total package.
Just say hi, everybody here in Greenwood, South Carolina, baby. We love you all. I'm excited, so excited with the enthusiasm we have never had for the sport of professional wrestling. He's known as a singles wrestler. I'm known as a singles wrestler. And from now on, we'll be known. Everybody's come out and talking about tag teams. I'm officially announcing this is a new tag team of the NWA. And I'm proud to have as my partner, the greatest wrestler in our sport today, the highest leaper, the most charismatic man in our sport. And I'm proud he's taking me as partner. And the Road Warriors, oh yeah, you're big and bad. But one thing's for sure, my dad taught me a long time ago, if there's a problem, you can run from it or you can fight. And me and Stinger in this thing, the fight, we're not running anywhere. Okay, so
he drew a line with his finger.
Guess what? I feel great. Road Warriors come out talking about having to carry people all over the place. That's why they turned on the Stinger. You never carried the Stinger nowhere. You never carried the total package nowhere. Let's talk about that Crockett Cup. Let's talk about tag teams. You think we're great as individual wrestlers. Put us together as a tag team. Go back to the Crockett Cup. Do you know how much the total package and the Stinger practiced together for the Crockett Cup? Diddly squat. Now we're working out a lot together in the ring and out of the ring. Guess what's going to happen then? And the other thing is, Road Warriors, my neck feels unreal. Guess what?
Man, the enthusiasm there was off the charts. See, they're promoting Clash of the Champions December 7th. Seasons Beatings is what they're calling it. I know that Lex said this is a new tag team. They've actually been tag teaming together for the better part of, 6 or 7 months at that point. But now it's official, I guess, not just like something that's on house shows or something that's on the Crockett Cup. We know eventually they're going to get back to their single stuff, but they would even be WCW tag team champions years later. How about Ron Simmons, man? This is, what do you think? Well, I feel bad for this guy. This is comical, what we're seeing here. Terry Jones, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
What do you think of old Terry here about to get mauled?
Yeah, there you go. Terry, what Terry did was actually kind of entertaining.
Oh, super entertaining. I loved it. Like, as an enhancement talent, he understood his assignment.
Yes, right. I'm going to get my ass kicked. He's trying to pull up his britches now.
Oh, how about a little picture-in-picture action?
Wow.
Let's listen.
On the topic that I think that everybody needs to know, and that's drugs. And this is aimed to the youth of America. I think it's time that the young people of this nation wake up and stop waiting for their mother and father to tell them what's right and wrong. You know drugs is wrong for you. Anything that causes death, brain damage, or can put you in a coma is not meant to be taken. I think it's time you took responsibility for yourself and said no. But one thing that I'm not saying no to, and that's the world's heavyweight champion. I want it all, and I won't stop until the last breath in my body tells me that I cannot or can do it. Thank you.
What? What did you think of that little drug PSA right in the middle?
I wonder who talked him into that.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, I'm for it. I agree. Hey, kids, don't do drugs and whatnot.
That sounds like a Turner thing to me.
Yeah, it does sound like someone was told he was encouraged, or maybe they were paid to do it. Maybe that's something that the station had to do, as a certain number of PSAs.
Yep.
Because I know that, like, here, our local television stations, they have to run station IDs, and then occasionally there has to be a little bit of PSA that's just thrown in there for free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So maybe that was one of the ways to get it done and give a quote unquote celebrity endorsement.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. You had asked me about studio wrestling.
Yes.
And you think it could rebound today. Isn't that what the NWA does? Studio wrestling?
Yes.
Okay. How's that working out for them? They get listeners on, or viewers on their YouTube channel, or
it was fantastic.
Streaming?
I mean, they had Eddie Kingston and LA Knight and Ricky Starks and Thunder Rosa. Then the pandemic happened, and I think they're still trying to get the train back on the track a little bit over there. But in other good news, we haven't talked about this. Their programming is available now on the CW app.
Oh, so they're streaming.
Yes, you can actually watch it on the CW app, which I can only hope that Terry Jones has access to the CW app, because he just got his damn ass kicked against Ron Simmons here. What do you think of this as a finish? The off the second rope shoulder block.
I like it. And the reason I like it is no one else does it.
That's right. You need something nobody else does.
That's right. And you also need something no one else does as a finish. What do you think of all the kicking out of people's finishes now?
Look at this. Barry Windham suited and booted. Let's take a listen.
A lot of things heavy on your mind. Dusty Rhodes wants a chance at that title.
Heavy on my mind.
Wait a minute.
Heavy on
Bam Bigelow. Isn't that correct?
I'll tell you what, I want to get something off my chest right now. Now, I am the United States Heavyweight Champion. I have defended this championship at all times. Not once have I ever backed away from anybody. You don't become champion by backing away from people. The way you become champion is defending a championship or going out for a championship, fighting anybody that you can. Bam Bigelow comes out here and gets in my manager's face and thinks that I'm going to back away. Listen, big boy, it's not going to happen. Humperdinck, you better teach him a few things. Dusty Rhodes, you better talk to Humperdinck and Bigelow. Because I tell you what, I'm not going to back away from anybody. Dusty Rhodes knows better than anybody in the world that I am not afraid of any man walking the earth. My championship is what I am proud of. The heritage of the Horsemen is what I believe in. And this championship is going to remain with me until I want to do other things.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we have the Starcade update.
Wow. The Starcade update.
Wow.
This will be fun. We've talked about how much I love these event centers or control centers and things like that. Well, here we go, man. Let's track it.
When you talk about the biggest event in wrestling, you talk about one thing. Fans all over the country, worldwide, know what we're talking about. We're talking about Starcade. Since 1983, it's meant the Super Bowl of professional wrestling. And fans, Tony Schiavone, I've been with every Starcade since 1983 and very proud to have this man with me, Magnum TA, who's our special guest host on each and every of the Starcade updates this coming season. Fans, a big announcement. I know you're very excited about it, Magnum, that this year, Starcade 88, True Grit, will be held on December 26th in your hometown, Norfolk, Virginia, at the Scope Coliseum. What a great announcement, and I know you're very excited about that.
I couldn't be any more excited because, you know, this is the granddaddy of them all. And I have some great wrestling memories from Norfolk. I had some of the most classic battles of my career right there in the Norfolk Scope. And December the 26th, there's going to be a lot of classic battles going on because we all know it all comes together at Starcade. And I can't wait to be there and be a part of it this year.
Not only that, Magnum TA will be a part of Starcade. We understand that the NWA lining up all the great talent, all the great matches, as always, from around the world. The World Heavyweight Champion is once again committed to be a part of Starcade this year. And also, Magnum, I know you're excited about your program, Straight Talk with the Boss. You have a chance to present it live that night at the Norfolk Scope during Starcade.
That's exactly right. It's going to be live, and I'm in negotiations right now trying to sign up the top talent because there's some big questions out there. The wrestling world wants to know about it, and I'm going to get right to the bottom of it live at Starcade this year, December 26th. We're going to have some real serious Straight Talk with the Boss.
All right, it's all at the Norfolk Scope. Starcade 88, True Grit, coming your way on December 26th. And I think fans all across the country will agree with me on one thing. This man, what do you think of? I still think of him as the U.S. Heavyweight Champion, Magnum TA. Let's go back in time and take a look at Norfolk's own Magnum TA.
Wow. Tony, do you remember this video?
Yeah, I do.
Probably don't need to play the whole song here, but
No, I'm not. I'm thinking this is not the original song.
why are they doing this, Tony?
I don't. I guess they're thinking that since we're going to be in Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, I see.
There's his mom.
Yep.
That it's good to play. This is not a good control center or event center or whatever. I like the one where you have this is one that just kind of was thrown together, don't you think?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Normally there's matches and yada yada. We just not too long ago talked with Bruce Pritchard about the way they used to do like the event centers or control centers or whatever they were called.
Right.
And how it changed the way you would do the localized promo. You didn't
Right.
have to do as many. You could just have the announcer at the desk sort of piece it together. They do the heavy lifting. So the
Mooney.
production work on the road was just a lot easier.
Yeah, I know.
Man,
Sean Mooney would pitch to promos, the Rockers talking about, I don't know, another team, Demolition. And that would be, they would talk about the opponent, but not talk about the town.
Yes.
Sean Mooney would talk about the town. So he could sit there and do one for 10 markets using the same promo.
Why are we showing this fucking seagull flying around so much?
This was a Dusty Rhodes, Wayne Daniels thing.
Runs home to his mom on the beach. She hands him a towel. Listen, I like showing him running on the beach. It's very Rocky-like with his mom, holding his mom's hand. All that's fun. But like, I would have liked to have seen more wrestling clips and less sunshine and clouds and birds flying.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird video here for me.
Yeah. His mother just recently passed away, I think.
Oh man, I hate to hear that.
I think I'm right.
Nobody wants to hear about somebody's mama going. It sucks. Everybody loves their mom.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of what we're watching here, Tony. Yeah, that's enough of that.
Yeah, we put a lot of time and effort into this, and it didn't sell anything.
No, that's the thing. I keep coming back to. It's like, where's the money in this? Like, what are we doing here?
There was a time, and I've mentioned this before on this program, and this may have been another one of those times. There was a time when we tried to position it as if Magnum would make a miraculous recovery.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that was not going to happen.
You knew even then, you're saying.
Right. We knew from the week after the accident that it was over.
Hmm.
But we tried to, but it seemed to me that Dusty tried to position it as if all of a sudden he's going to get back in the ring. And maybe this was one of those moments. Norfolk, show him running on the beach. And maybe somebody home goes, Well, look at him, man. He just had a wreck back in October, and he's 2 years ago, and he's running on the beach. He's going to be coming back.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. College football scoreboard coming up next.
Yeah,
Oh,
David
JR.
plugged it. They went to commercial, and now JR's here.
Regarding Rick Steiner and the Varsity Club, and many fans have said, just when will it happen? When will it occur that Steiner has it up to here with Kevin Sullivan and his attitude and his verbal and physical abuse? Well, recently, Sullivan had all the members of his Varsity Club together for a tag team match against the Fantastics. Sullivan decided that Dr. S. Steve Williams and Mike Rotunda would be partners in this particular match we're going to show you. That put Rick Steiner on the bench, on the sidelines. And so what we're going to show you is about 17 or 18 minutes into this match, you're going to see that Rick Steiner got caught up in the moment. The fans started yelling for the Fantastics. Steiner got carried away. And fans, here's what happened.
See the Warriors.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Back to Dev. Kevin.
How about that fan in the crowd, man? He's been super animated, and I've heard him yell a few things. Like when Bam Bigelow was being bandied about by Humperdinck. He said, "This man got his first head tattoo in the 9th grade."
Yeah.
And the guy goes, and he never left.
Yeah.
Like he's still a 9th grader. I'm like, what? Why are we doing that exactly?
That's the guy in the yellow shirt. And I think those were college kids.
Right.
And we should have thrown them out because they wanted to be the stars of the show.
Yeah.
So we should not have only thrown them out, we should have really picked them up and thrown them out on their heads. Then they wouldn't do things like that again.
I gotta ask, when you see, like, after all because we've watched so much great stuff from JCP over the years, when you see this episode, and it's okay.
Yeah, it is okay.
But it's not great.
Yeah.
And with the benefit of hindsight, this is the last one that airs on the Crockett Watch. And then after this, it's Ted Turner's deal. We know what that would become, and you would have some dark days in WCW, but then you would have some real high watermarks, much larger than Crockett ever did. Goldberg in the Georgia Dome and Starcade 97, and so many of these iconic moments. Hulk Hogan becoming a bad guy, and you got to be a part of all that. But do you have any sort of bittersweet feelings watching this, knowing, that the wrestling you grew up on was always, Crockett influence, and that influence is sort of coming to an end here. Any of that? With you?
I don't know if it's bittersweet or not. I have feelings that the only thing I can think of when I'm watching this is that the Jim Herd era is about to begin.
Yeah.
And that sucked.
Yeah.
It really did. I know you did an interview with him, and I guess it's still available in the archives on ad-free shows, but you sent it to me to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember what I said. I watched about 3 minutes of it, and I said, yeah, it's enough. I have such bad feelings about the Jim Herd era. And I think it has to do with the end of the Crockett's, that coming to an end, and my feelings about that, my feelings about TBS back then, and my feelings that when I came back to WCW and left the WWF in 1990, that I had made such a bad mistake. And that was a terrible time in my life. Terrible time. The spring of 1990, terrible time. Kevin's got his bathrobe on. That's what it is. He probably took that from the Marriott. And not only that, this guy, Randy Hogan, looks like Hulk Hogan, but notice how they spell their name Hogen on the font? Yeah.
Just a little different.
A little different. But he tried to look like Hulk Hogan, this kid did. And something that Rotunda just said made Teddy Long laugh.
Hey, I forgot to tell you this. I spent a lot of time with my mother-in-law over the last week or so.
Yeah.
And she'll just want to pick my brain about wrestling stuff every now and again. And so she'll just hit me with just random stuff. Like we're driving to the beach. It's just she and I in the car. And just out of nowhere, she says, "Is Greg Valentine still alive?" So I get stuff like that all the time.
Right.
But the other night, as you and I are recording this last night, I was watching Monday Night Raw and Cody Rhodes comes out to do a promo and she says, "Is this live?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she says, "How did his brother die?" And I go, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, his brother died." I go, "No, ma'am. His brother did not die." She goes, "But he was a wrestler." I go, "Yeah, he still is. His name's Dustin." Okay. Well, whose brother died? And I'm thinking, man, what did she misconstrue?
Well, I know immediately.
And so then I was like, I got it.
Yeah.
You're saying Blackjack's grandson, he passed away. And she goes, "Did he?" And I go, "He did earlier this year. Barry Windham's nephew, Mike Rotunda's son."
Yeah.
She goes, "That may have been who I was thinking about." Who did you think she was thinking about?
She thought that was Dusty Rhodes' brother.
She thought
Cody was.
I see.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Us senior citizens
Mm-hmm.
have a tendency to think that we're younger than we are.
I understand.
Okay.
Well, she grew up, with Rick, of course, and he used to do a lot palling around with Dusty Rhodes when he was first breaking into wrestling. And once Rick was more established, 2 doors down was Blackjack, so they were a big part of each other's lives, and she remembers all that. And so I thought, okay, who would she have been around? Yeah. It was a brother, and the only thing I could come up with was Blackjack.
Right. I just think she thought Cody and Dusty were brothers. I don't know. So, hey, we've been talking around this, but this is an angle where the Varsity Club turned on Rick Steiner.
That's exactly right. Yes, yeah. He's out. Dr. Death is in.
Right.
For at this point, it feels like years. Rick Steiner and Mike Rotundo and Kevin Sullivan have been the Varsity Club, but now that we've bought out Bill Watts a year prior, more than a year prior at this point, we've got Dr. Death in the mix, so we add him to part of the presentation, and Steiner is out, and that means it won't be too terribly long, and we're going to meet the Steiner brothers, my absolute favorite tag team as a kid. I mean, I just thought Rick and Scott were the coolest tag team there ever was. And then to know, I guess there was a Super Brawl a few years after this that as a kid to me was like, man, does it get any better than this? Lex Luger and Sting against the Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, and I can't put my finger on why, because I like all the individuals. Like I think the world of Kevin Sullivan, but this Varsity Club, I could never really get into. How about you, Tony? Were you with it?
No, I mean, I really loved Kevin Sullivan, but Rotunda and Dr. Death, great performers, but they were not the greatest talkers in the world. Right. And I think that hurt them. Here's an example.
Speaking of talkers, here we go. Kevin Sullivan's got a number on the socks. Here we go.
So the last time I saw Rick Steiner, he was half stripped in the middle of the ring, bleeding. So what? This is the greatest combination of all time. First of all, did you see how Doc and Mike worked together as a team? First time. There wasn't any mistakes. There wasn't anybody walking around scratching his head. There wasn't anybody getting lost at the airport. There wasn't anybody going, what? It was perfect teamwork.
He's a real athlete, that's why. Steiner, you're nothing but a moron, man. That's why you're out walking the streets, and that's why Dr. Death's in the Varsity Club. You're nothing but an idiot. Doc, you know the guys, he's stupid or what? It's like this, man. When you're good, you're good. And when you're bad, you're bad. And we're very bad. Rick Steiner, should I say. And you, Dusty Rhodes, don't stick your nose in the Varsity Club. We'll tear it right off.
You know, David, it's the law of the jungle. The weak shall die, so the strong shall survive. It's real simple. If they want Steiner, we certainly would want Steiner, because Rick Steiner, let me tell you something. You don't go hunting alligators with a BB gun. Just remember that.
Let's throw the raw meat in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from the Varsity Club. When we come back, you're going to see the original Midnight Express.
We're going to talk a little bit about Rick Steiner in just a minute, but we're going to stop it down and take a little commercial break ourselves here. I'm going to do it at 52:50. There it is. We're here, and we're going to take this break because we want to remind you that, well, we start each and every day with one delicious scoop of AG1. And I got to admit, I was not using this until the pandemic, but my wife, she's been on the AG1 train for years. And I have to tell you, I started taking it because I felt like I needed to better support my immune system. But what I found is, man, there's a lot of other benefits. It's the reason my wife uses it every morning on the way to the gym. She does it because she feels like she's more productive. She's not as sluggish. She can start her day stronger. And if you're feeling stressed or you're worried about maybe not feeling as focused as you could at work, maybe your digestion doesn't feel like it's working the way it should, maybe you just feel sluggish and need that boost of energy, I recommend that you start drinking AG1 daily. I know we did, and I stopped having that afternoon crash, and I give the credit for that to AG1. I'm able to be more productive at work. I can focus more. I feel like I have more clarity. And I believe that's because AG1 is a foundational nutritional supplement that supports your body's universal needs like gut optimization, stress management, and immune support. These cats have been around since 2010, and AG1 has led the future of foundational nutrition. They've continuously refined their formula to create a smarter, better way to elevate your baseline health. This is going to have everything you need, and I mean it. Prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, everything you need for gut support. They've also got magnesium and vitamin B to go ahead and give you that energy support. How about the adaptogens you need to balance your body's stress levels, and a little vitamin C and zinc to support your, immune system. I recommend AG1 and tell all my friends and family about it because they have a team of doctors and scientists who've tested it for like 950 contaminants. It's NSF certified for sport. It's just based on the latest science, and it's got great quality standards. Even my parents are drinking AG1, and they always tell me that they feel like they have better gut health. You know what we're talking about. And they feel like their body's just getting the nutrients they need. They're setting themselves up for success, and you can too. We're talking like 75 high quality ingredients every single day. It's just one scoop and a cup of water. That's all you need. Seriously, you're going to love the way you feel with AG1. AG1 is the supplement I trust to provide the support my body needs daily. That's why we've been using it for so long, and why they've been a partner for so long on this program. And if you want to take ownership of your health, man, it starts with AG1. Try AG1, get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go right now to drinkag1.com/WHW. That's drinkag1.com/WHW. Check it out. You'll be glad you did. And Tony, we're back on the program here. We're going to be coming back from a break. I hope we see more Rick Steiner. We are in season 4, episode 47, November 19th, 1988. I think we got a Paulie Dangerously promo coming up, a Road Warrior Hawk promo, lots of fun stuff here at 1 hour, 17 minutes and 49 seconds of a runtime, but we are presently paused at 52:50. So we'll get going here at 52:50 and 3, 2, 1, play.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Ross with Paul E. Dangerously.
Jim Cornette comes out here and he says, beautiful Bobby's gonna fly, huh? He said that Sweet Stan's gonna throw a few kicks, huh? He said that he's gonna swing the tennis racket. You know what I say, Jim Cornette? I say your mama. You understand? You never had a tag team that's as good as the one I got. You never had it, you never will, and you certainly don't have one now. Ladies and gentlemen, the only team truly deserving of the name, Loverboy Dennis and Ravishing Randy, the Midnight Express!
Now, what do you think of the original Midnight Express? Dennis Condrey, Randy Rose, obviously I like the storyline, you know,
Right.
Midnight Express versus Midnight Express, but just as a standalone tag team, I got to admit, I don't know why I can't put my finger on it. I didn't like it as well. I got to think the secret sauce was Bobby Eaton.
Of course it was. And not only that, when you thought Midnight Express, who'd you think about? Jim Cornette. And this
Yes.
is not a knock on Paul Lee, because I know that I've knocked on his weight long enough. But it's just, I just don't, whoops, there's my phone. I just don't think that, that it worked without Bobby and Cornette.
Super fun to think about wrestling in this era. You know, we've talked a little bit about how I believe that the word new is almost like the kiss of death. The new Rockers, the new Midnight Express. But I like the original Midnight Express. That's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, that was kind of fun. But again, we all love Dennis Condrey. I didn't know that much about Randy Rose. He was a pretty cool guy to talk to and get to know, but I didn't know him. And Paulie has had a great managerial career. Man, look what he's doing now. But it was like, at that time, compared to Jim Cornette, it was like, no. So there.
Boy, this is kind of a sad time now in hindsight when I think about it. I mean, we've had so much fun watching the old Crockett stuff, and to know that, you know, the show kind of goes out not with a bang, but with a whimper.
Sure. But you know, it's Dusty. Dusty was still the booker this time. When did they have the angle where and I think we've already covered that, but exactly when was the angle where they gouged Dusty's eyes, and they
not too long after
they
took over.
Of course, and that was the end of Dusty's the booker.
Yes.
And then George Scott comes in, and of course, things really go downhill. I remember when George Scott, I've told the story when George Scott came in and we were all in that meeting, and he had no idea what he was doing. It was actually in hindsight very hilarious when you think about it. Here was this new regime, Jim Hurd and Jim fucking Barnett taking over the company, right? And we're all in this big conference room in Techwood, and we're all sit down, and George Scott's at the head of the table, and he's got the format, and he looks at the format, and it's time for the meeting. Everybody's very quiet, and he's looking at the format, and he's still looking at the format, and nobody's saying anything. We're all waiting on George to talk, and everybody's kind of like looking at each other,
right?
Eyes shifting back and forth. And George all of a sudden realized there is silence. And he says, are you guys waiting on me? I thought the director usually runs the meeting. And that's what he did back then, right?
Right.
The director back in the old days ran the meeting, and so he ran over the format. And I have a feeling that of all of his great career of being a booker, that was the first time he ran a meeting and read a format to us. And I knew right then that this company was fucked. And that was probably one of the things that came to mind when I was offered a job with the WWF. And that was an hilarious moment. That was almost like a moment you would see in the program The Office. There's those jackoffs again.
Hey, speaking of jackoffs, you mentioned the whole Dusty Spike angle.
Yeah.
With the shoulder pads. That actually happened. You're not going to believe this.
Okay.
The sale is made official. So, like, let me back up. You guys record this episode we're watching here on the 14th. It airs on the 19th. The sale is official on the 21st. Well, on the 24th, It would actually air on Thanksgiving Day, the 26th. But on the 24th, that's the Spike Angle.
Okay.
So 3 whole doggone days after Ted Turner buys it, that's when the Spike Angle happened.
Wow.
So we're just a couple of weeks away from that. And one of the things that's so weird that I think just makes me feel, I don't know, sort of out of place watching this is here we are, you know, in what would have been the 19th of November. This should have been like the go home show for Starcade.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't. Starcade 88 actually happened after Christmas that year, the day after Christmas.
Right.
I think moving, and I understand why they had to move it, because the WWE sabotaged Thanksgiving and Starcade with the creation of Survivor Series in 87. So a year later, if they want to be on pay-per-view, they just can't go heads up with the juggernaut that is the WWF. But Starcade being in December, that's going to become a thing in 1988. So I guess, in fact, there were way more Starcades in December than there were in November, but it just feels weird to me.
Yep.
Speaking of weird, here's Paul Lee on a JCP set.
Personal, huh? You want to get personal, Jim Cornette? Let's get personal. Let's tell the real story, Jimmy, huh? When Dennis Condrey found you, you were nothing more. Which camera's on, guys? We're going to go to this one. Okay. See, Jim Cornette, you are nothing happening photographer, driving the wrestlers to the towns, praying that your mama kicks the bucket so you can inherit our money. And then when Dennis finally had a good opportunity, when he bought himself a ski resort called Aspen, Colorado, you got jealous. You couldn't handle the fact that Dennis Condrey was making money, could you? But the fact of the matter is, Jim Cornette, I'll give you credit. You are a great talker, but that's all you ever did as a manager. But you see, Jimmy, you never handled his plane tickets. You never handled his money. You never did anything that a manager is supposed to do. But you see, that's where I come in, man, because I do everything for Dennis, and this man right here is a much better tag team partner than Bobby Eaton could ever hope to be. Because Dennis Condrey carried Bobby Eaton for 5 long years because he taught Bobby Eaton everything Bobby knows. By the way, Sweet Stan, the next time you do this in front of the Midnight Express, they're going to clothesline you so goofy you're going to pray to be in the ring with the Road Warriors. You know what I'm saying to you, man? There's one other thing I want to bring out. We're not here to fight for the name because the name is ours. We don't have to prove anything because we beat you up right here. You got to prove yourself. We're not here because the promoters need us to make their money because this is the greatest organization in wrestling and we're just the cream on the cake, man. We are here for one reason. And it's not because everybody thinks you're the Express. It's not because the people are on your side. It's not because David Crockett wants to buy himself a new tie. It's because, quite simply, gentlemen, we hate your filthy, stinking guts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the original Midnight Express.
No more signs up like that. Let me tell you something, David Crockett. I'll tell you real quick. You know, Jimmy Cornette, I keep on having a reoccurring nightmare about the first time I ever met you and your mother. It was out back in Louisville, Kentucky. You were standing out there behind the matches with all the rest of the, how'd I put it, ladies of the evening, mind you. And let me tell you something. Your mother kept hollering, I want 2 guys for my boy to manage. She wanted 2 guys, all right, but it wasn't for you to manage, Jimmy.
Okay. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, you'll have the Road Wars, the Russians, Barry Windham, and much more.
Well, I didn't have that on my bingo card that we'd get a Dennis Condrey promo and he would sort of insinuate that Jim Cornette's. Yeah. Wow. I don't remember that promo at all.
What is the... Jim always talks about his mom. Was she a wrestling fan? Is that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, she was? I didn't know.
Well, I assume she was because he was going to all those events before he could drive. You know, he was a ringside photographer and all that stuff. So normally
she got him there probably.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he talked about his mom a lot in the promos and, of course, his mom with all the money and everything. And I didn't know in real life what. Would you take a look at this?
I mean, the enhancement talent is jacked, boy.
Well, it's Chip the Firebreaker.
But without the gimmick.
Right.
He looks fantastic, too.
Curtis Thompson. The other guy, I'm not so sure he is. I thought maybe it was Todd Champion at first, but it's not Todd.
Justice is his name.
Justice. And this is the Russian Assassins, right?
1-2. Yeah, man. The guys who were probably taking the big loss here look like they're ready for a bodybuilding competition, and
right.
and our other team maybe not so much.
And this guy is the Dark Angel, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. What was his name again? His real name? You have to Google that up.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
David Sheldon.
David Sheldon. That's it. Good call. Good Google.
You like to keep me on my toes, don't you?
I sure do. Thank God for Google, huh?
Yeah, if we had Excalibur here, we wouldn't have to look any of this shit up.
No.
He would just know.
He would just know.
David Sheldon, Tony Schiavone.
Yep, that was David Sheldon. I don't know who the other. I'm trying to. I have no idea who the other guy was. Hell, the other guy may be David Sierra. All I know.
Man, is it just me, or is Peanut Head earning his money today?
Yeah, buddy.
Feels like he's been out there for damn near every match.
He has been out for every match. I think that's the way they did it, didn't they? One referee the entire taping.
I'd like to see. I know we talked about the NWA, but I still think I'd like to see more studio wrestling. Just give it a shot. I like the format of the podium and the promos, and NWA Power really had it down pat. I was entertained by Eddie Kingston, and think about that, dude. I mean, before the pandemic, he had Eddie Kingston and LA Knight and Ricky Starks and Thunder Rosa, and the world changed awfully quick.
Boy, it did. And now look at Eddie.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, my man's going to be battling for a triple crown. I mean, he's walking around New Japan Strong Champion and Ring of Honor World Champion, and look at all the success Ricky Starks has now as one half of the AEW Tag Team Champions. And LA Knight is arguably one of the most over wrestlers in all of WWE. Yeah. And Thunder Rosa, I mean, has gone on to become world champ. And I like that, man. I love when we sneak a foreign object, if you will.
Yep.
Or as you would eventually have to call it, an international object into your mask, headbutt somebody with it, and then just stick it back down in your tights.
You know why we called it international object? We were told that Ted Turner did not like to use the word foreign.
Yeah. But isn't that stupid though? Like in this particular case,
it's stupid.
Yeah. I understand it in a diplomat way. If you're talking about regular news, but an international object would make no sense in this context.
No. And
is it an object from Japan? What are we talking about?
And what's wrong with the word foreign?
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Speaking of foreign, this is foreign. Road Warrior Hawk looks like he's out here by himself.
Where are we observant today, Tony Schiavone? You're right, my partner's not here because some of Paul's investors have taken it upon themselves to not make their yearly installments. Bad for them, good for us. We flipped a coin. Animals collected. I'm on the boob tube telling you what it's all about. Where, oh where, are Stinging Lex, the Valley Girl's best boyfriend, is back in California doing what he thinks is taking care of business. Well, if you call licking your wounds taking care of business, then so be it. Now everybody knows where Lex is. He's in front of a mirror somewhere, in love with himself. Well, Lex Luger, this kind of crap, it don't do nothing in the ring against the LOD because you flex your stinking muscles in front of the hawk of the animal, and you'll get a high boot to your stinking chops, you liver-bellied, low-life scumbag. You are nothing, and you, Sting, you're so after us, so hot after the LOD. Well, I'm here. My partner's not. But that don't mean if you're here, you couldn't come out and do something about it. You don't even want to show up to TV. You're scared, boy. You're both scared. You're so stinking scared you're at home where you belong with mamas and babies and dogs and kids and all that fun stuff. Tell them, Paul.
Okay, Paul, excuse me 1 minute, but Mr. Jim Crockett has appeared with us. Mr. Crockett, here on with us on Superstation TBS.
We've been having some negotiations with Mr. Ellering. We have a situation with the World Six-Man Tag Team Champions.
Right.
Which the Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes hold that title. And it has been agreed on Clash of the Champions 4 on December the 7th that Dusty Rhodes will meet Animal for the winning individual to pick his partner or partners for the new six-man tag team champions.
So what you're saying right here, if Dusty Rhodes defeats Road Warrior Animal, then he gets to pick his two partners to be World Six-Man Champion. If the Road Warrior Animal wins, then he and Hawk will pick one man to become World Six-Man Champion with him?
That is correct.
So what about that?
Well, isn't that interesting? You got a lot of guts coming out here, Jimmy Crockett, and telling all these people here that Dusty Rhodes, the last to think, the first to volunteer. That's what you are, Dusty Rhodes. Well, this isn't the March of Dimes, and this isn't the Special Olympics. You're going to wrestle Road Warrior Animal and Dusty Rhodes. It's not going to be pretty because there's only one way to keep score in this business, and that's money. And those six-man belts mean a lot of money to the Legion of Doom. And Animal knows the bottom line is corporate profits. So he's going to go in there, Dusty Rhodes. And if I remember right, this is December 7th, a day that has already gone down in infamy, Dusty Rhodes. Animal's going to look you. He's going to kick you in the back, Dusty Rhodes. And then he's going to turn you around and kick you in the face twice.
You mean to tell me that Dusty Rhodes is going to mess with my partner? I got some advice for you, Dusty. Good stinking luck. We snuck on danger. We died on death. And dead men don't make money.
All right, a big announcement for Mr. Jim Crockett. I think that's a first in the NWA. Not only the Clash of the Champions, but the Clash for the Championship right here on Superstation TBS. And we'll be back on World Championship Wrestling right after this timeout, fans.
So that's how we set up the big spike angle. I really like that. I thought that was a good promo and well done. You could tell Jimmy was never super comfortable on camera, but that's going to be one of the last times we see him. I mean, again, he's selling this this whole shooting match over to Ted Turner. We're back from commercial, and Barry Windham is in the ring, got that one black glove on and the U.S. strap around his waist. Do you think, in an alternate universe, Barry should have been champ at some point, and we'll call it 87, 88?
No question. Yep, I do.
Yeah.
Couple of things. And Kelly Cox, one of the gentlemen watching on with us live here, wants to know whatever became of those six-man tag team belts. Don't know. And the second, when I see Paul Ellering, I think of Rachel, his daughter, who's one of the nicest people I met, and Rachel and her fiance, Chris Hero, good friends of mine, good people, good wrestling people. I have a lot of time for Chris Hero and a lot of time for Rachel.
Bobby watching along with us. We greatly appreciate our live studio audience. You can be a part of the live studio audience by signing up for our Patreon. That's patreon.com/WHW Monday. You get to be a part of the live show. You get it early and ad free. And of course, there's some bonus content over there you can't get anywhere else. We do not one, but two special bonus episodes every single month. Bobby wants to know, #Ask Tony, if JCP had managed their money and survived, would it still be around today? And that's interesting to think about. An alternate universe where Crockett never goes out of business. Therefore, technically, we never get WCW, and maybe Nitro exists in a different form, but it wouldn't have looked or felt like that. What do you think? Would that have been a net positive or a net negative for wrestling?
I think it would have been a net negative. I think you had, and I just think this is not a knock at all on our friend David and our friend Jimmy and the whole family. They didn't have the infrastructure to compete. And I don't know if saving their money or or managing their money would have helped or not. You got to have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
You got to have it. And what I mean by infrastructure is not necessarily a good talent base.
Behind the scenes, you mean?
Yes. You have to have quality production people. You have to have the equipment. They had no idea of an edit suite.
Right.
None.
Right.
And that's when I went to WWF. I went, what the fuck? What's going on here? This is unbelievable. It was still very much, quote unquote, it's a overused term, but they were still very much a mom and pop organization. And that's how it was. And that was their mindset. And this is worth listening to.
It's David with Rick Steiner.
Look at him.
Hey, you
Flying around. Look at it. It's good, ain't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great. Hey, how you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Hey, for those three guys that beat me up, Big Chief Kevin Sullivan, I'm gonna knock his head off.
Well, he says he's not finished with you yet.
Not finished. What else is he gonna do to me?
He said they're gonna beat you up again. They're gonna put you out of wrestling.
No, I'm gonna power slam Mike Rotunda, and I'm gonna beat up Dr. Death too. I got friends now. Come here. Look at
Wait. Hold on.
Look, are you my friend? See, thank you. She's my friend. Are you my friend? He's my friend. See, I have friends now. See, look at Spike too.
It's good.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
What?
All right, Mike Rotundo. All right, what about Dr. Death? They just threw you out.
I already beat him once. I can beat him again. Watch. I'll get him.
All right.
What?
And you do have friends everywhere. Out there? What about your friends out there?
Hey, my friends out. Hey, Spike. I have all kinds of friends now.
That's great.
Yeah. You too, David?
Yeah, I'm your friend. I'm your friend.
All right.
Hey, listen, we have a match in the ring. We have to go. Why don't you come over here with me right now?
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a match in the ring. We'll see.
So Abdullah the Butcher has Gary Hart with him, and he's about to beat up Eddie Sweat, and he's going to do it very, very quickly. He's not even taking his headdress off yet, and he's already whipping that ass.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that Rick Steiner skit? Going into the crowd, asking, "Are you my friend?" What'd you think?
That's kind of goofy.
I think that was the character, right? I mean, he's the dumb jock, I suppose.
That was the character. Oddly enough, the first lady he shook hands with,
yeah,
that was the lady that had always had that running thing with Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Hated Dusty. We would come out, and David did this mostly, but I did a couple of times. We would walk out and talk to the fans before we would go on the air.
Right.
And we would give them the rundown of who's going to be on the show. And that lady would always say, Dusty's going to be here. Ew, I hate Dusty. She would always say that out loud. And so Dusty, did he just hit him with a gas can?
It was a gas can or an oil can. I mean,
Okay.
It sure was. And just dented that thing to all hell and back. Chaos here at the desk with Abdullah the Butcher.
All right, let's go over to David.
What?
Go ahead, David.
For you see.
He's licking the podium.
Man, that is going to settle a very old score. And remember, the longer you wait for revenge, the sweeter it is. The surprise that I am going to unleash in the very near future is going to horrify a single individual.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week.
Boy,
Ran out of time there.
tape machines are rolling. That was an abrupt ending. We got one more question I want to hit from our peanut gallery today.
Okay.
Jim wants to know, do you recall what David was thinking around this time regarding how the whole sale process was going down? Did he talk about it at all? He has talked about it with me that he was against it, and he did not see it this way. He thought we could still save it and pull the nose up. But eventually his mom intervened, I suppose, and said, nope, this is what we got to do. And everybody wound up going along with it. Do you remember talking to David about this pending sale?
I remember that David was very upset about it, and I remember that David did not want to talk about it. I remember that. He was like, now forget it. I don't want to talk about this. So it was upsetting enough to where he just ignored it, or he would not want to. Maybe he didn't want to divulge the family business to me at that time. I don't know, but he was upset and he didn't want to talk about it.
Well, we're not upset, and we do want to talk about it, and we're going to keep talking about it till the end of the year, boys and girls. It's around the corner. The holiday season is here. The perfect gift to give the wrestling fan in your life is a subscription to the Patreon. That's patreon.com/WHW Monday. Of course, we've got lots of swag on sale for you over at loisrules.com. A perfect little stocking stuffer for the wrestling fan in your life. And if you'd like to advertise on our program, man, we'd love to have you. You hear some of the same commercials week after week, year after year. Why is that? Because it really works. If you're looking for men 25 to 54, we got them. Find out how affordable it can be at advertisewithwhw.com. If you'd like to fuck around and get blocked, follow Tony Schiavone. Otherwise, you can always ask a question here on the show at WHW Monday on Twitter, at WHW Podcast over on Instagram. And the easiest, cheapest, best way to support the show is to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube. That's WHW on YouTube.com. But right now, Tony, it looks like it's about that time.
Speaking of holidays, ladies and gentlemen, Tony Schiavone in the control center. It's time for our holiday card here on WHW. The opening bout, Pop Ric Flair with Fifi at ringside against son-in-law of the year, Conrad Thompson, with Megan Thompson at ringside. And the loser has to go to Charlotte on January 6th to watch Collision. A tag team event, the Prison Guards take on Evan Courageous and former Auburn star Nick Fairley. The winner of this next match gets a weekend nursing home pass as Jerry Lynn goes up against Ricky Morton, formerly of the Rock and Roll Express. Double main event, Paulie Dangerously tackles the Golden Corral Buffet, and Dave Silva against Cassio Kidd in the Belly Buff Championship of the World. Tickets are available at the Chevron in Hazel Green, Alabama, and Bruce Pritchard's basement in Connecticut. I'm Tony Schiavone. We're desperately out of time. We will see you next week on What Happened When. We come to you each and every Wednesday on Cumulus Westwood 1. But on Mondays, we come to you on
Patron! Patreon.com/WHW Monday. And of course, adfreeshows.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.